Hey everyone, welcome to episode 31 of Miami Masterclass. I'm Ian, and in today's episode we are going to run out the month of September and a little bit of October to run out the 2018 season. Of course, it is roster expansion time again, so let's have a quick look at who we brought up. The first one we did bring up was left fielder Austin Dean, who did actually start a few games for us last year in the big team. He's done very well. He's done very well down in AAA, so he does deserve a call-up. He's batting .273, got an ops plus of 107. So that's why I brought him up. He does deserve another crack in the big time. We also brought up Avery Romero. He did start the season with our Miami team. Didn't really impress me too much, and we were loaded with second baseman, third baseman, that sort of thing, so we thought there's no point in keeping him. So he did get demoted back down to AAA, but again, he's doing very, very well in AAA. He's got an ops plus of 142 there, he's got a WAR of 2, so he's probably worth having another look at, if for no other reason than just to see whether he's worth trading away, because we have got quite a stacked infield with people like Profar, Ketel Marte, Martin Prado, Tejada, so of course Joe Panic as well. So he's someone that we need to look at. He's probably not going to get a great deal of game time, but he's languishing a little bit down in AAA because he probably deserves a major league spot, and he's not getting it with us. But he hopefully could get one or two games under his belt, and at the very least we could trade him away in the off season. We also brought up Justin Bauer. Because CJ Cron is really struggling. Justin Bauer's done all right down in AAA. Hasn't played for us at all. Last year he made 130 appearances. He didn't only start 12 games, but he batted .307, which isn't too bad. So hopefully he can carry on that fine form this year, because CJ Cron's really struggling. He's really sort of dropped off in the last couple of months. So bringing in some competition for him hopefully can spur him on, particularly as we try and make a push for the playoffs, which I'll talk about in a minute. We also brought up quite a few relief pitchers. I won't go into their stats. Nick Whitgren, he comes up along with Matt Ramsey, who's struggling a little bit. Joe Ortiz also comes back up into the big team, and Grant Dayton, who hasn't actually played for us this season. He did appear quite a few times in 2017 and 2016, of course. So in AAA, he's not doing too badly, so he deserves another call-up. A notable absence is Tozawa. He's not coming back up at all. I've had a gutful of him. So he can stay down in AAA as far as I'm concerned. There's a couple of players that perhaps deserve a call. Brian Ellington, he's been putting up fantastic numbers, but he's only 28. Perhaps I could call him up, but I thought, you know what? No. I could bring him up. Actually, you know what? I will. I'll bring him up. That shows how indecisive I am. I'll bring him up. Actually, I can't. There you go. I can't, because my 40-man roster is full. So, that's something that I'm not too upset about. He's putting up fantastic numbers for us, as you can see, in AAA. So perhaps he does deserve a call-up, but yeah, I mean, we have to make a decision, and the decision is he's staying down. And the other one that I wanted to bring up, but thought better of it, was Arturo Rodriguez. I figured he's kind of major league ready, but we do have Raul Muto, and I kind of thought Raul Muto sort of had a couple of bad months here and there. So perhaps bringing Rodriguez up would help give him a break and keep him fresh, but. I mean, we can't bring him up now anyway, but he's not doing too badly. His ops plus is a little bit low there, but on the whole, I think he's ready to come up, but subsequently we didn't. So, of course, we do have quite a few games to go. We're 8.5 games back from the division, which isn't totally impossible. 7.5 games back from the Diamondbacks in the second wildcard spot. So we're not totally out of it yet, but we have to have a fantastic month to stand any chance. Our owner expects a winning record, so we're not too far off of that. We're only 3 games back from 500 ball in that regard. So I think we can still finish with a positive win-loss difference, but whether we make the playoffs or not, I'm not holding my breath. We did sort of finish the month of August quite strongly. We started off quite poorly and came good, particularly with players like Bumgarner coming back, Addison Reed. So it's not totally out of the question, but we really have to start moving, basically. Ivan Nova's looking for an extension. I don't think that's going to happen. He's good, but his age is against him. Of course, it all depends on the free agency list as well, which I don't really talk about too much with you guys, because I do that in the off-season, of course, and just do the screenshots. But that's a real blow, because we've just lost Profar for the rest of the season. He's out for 3 weeks. So, I mean, is his season over? Not quite, is it? I'll place him on the disabled list for 15 days. That's a real blow to us, because we've just been on a little bit of a winning streak, haven't we? We've just won 4 in a row, and we're back over the 500 ball again. We've closed that gap to Atlanta, who's just lost 5 in a row. And we've got Philadelphia next, so we're right back in this. Look, we're closer to winning the division than we are to making the wildcard spot. That's how close our division is. But losing Profile is a major blow, so hopefully that doesn't cost us too badly. So we're playing the Mets at the moment as well. We just beat them. So we're 3.5 games back from the Braves. We're now playing the Phillies. If we can knock some games out of the Phillies, then we stand a real chance. As it looks like we did win that game. 2.5 games back, there's really nothing in it, is there? And Atlanta seems to be falling away. They started to fall away a bit last season too. I mean, when it was us, really pushing for the division with Atlanta, we were in with a real chance towards the end of the season. We're starting to fall away a little bit now, aren't we? We're starting to lose some games. That's a little disappointing. So we'll have a quick look, as it looks like we've been playing Washington. Let's have a quick look then, because all we've got is players retiring down in the DSL. And this guy, Francisco Aquino, yeah, whatever. He's a nobody. Let's have a look then, see how our things gone. So we lost 3 in a row there. As Pittsburgh almost swept us, and then we're back to winning ways finally against Washington. Another 3-game series against Philadelphia. If we can take 2 out of 3 again, and then we've got Atlanta there. So this is going to be a really down to the wire season yet again, as we've actually just moved ahead of Philadelphia. 6 games back from the Braves, so I don't like our chances. It doesn't even look like... I mean, we're only 2 games back from a wildcard spot, so we stand a very, very slim chance, as we've just lost Brandon Finnegan as well for 5 weeks. So his season is done. Brandon Finnegan's season's done. He's out. That's a major blow. What I will do, I'll place him on the disabled list. I'd actually be interested to see how he did for the month, because he seems to have been putting up some fantastic numbers for us. As he got 2 winning decisions there, and although he got a 3-0 loss to Washington, got the losing decision, he did go 7 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 runs. That's not too bad. And then he was doing very well against Washington there. We got the no decision. So that's a major blow. So I don't really... I mean, so it does mean that Ivan Nova will probably step up into the rotation, although he's actually already there. So who could... I mean, probably Aaron Blair would probably come up in that regard, because Aaron Blair was in the start of the rotation, wasn't he, before we picked up Brandon Finnegan. But now Aaron Blair's got that experience, he might not be too bad. His ERA is still fractionally high, and he's obviously only coming in with relief appearances, but now he's sort of settled down a bit. He might not be too bad, but relying on him that's a bit of an iffy situation, isn't it? So I think that's a major blow for us in a big way, because we're really pushing for a wild card spot. We're only 2 games back, which I wouldn't have thought that would have happened. I think the division's a little bit far away from us, to be fair. I mean, we've still got just over 2 weeks of games to play, so it's not impossible, but I can't see us catching Atlanta, especially with the loss of Finnegan. 2 games back in the wild card from the Dodgers. I mean, if we squeeze in over the Dodgers, then that's incredible, because the Dodgers are a stacked team. Of course, we do get Profile back in about a week's time, maybe a week and a bit, so that'll be a huge improvement. but let's hope this isn't anything bad. So Almonte is suspended for 4 games. We seem to be getting the bad news right at the end of the season, doesn't it? And another tough way to go. It looks like we had a bench clearing brawl with the Nationals. But we do have Naquin, who I think they're playing. Gary Jones plays Naquin ahead of Almonte anyway. But let's have a quick look. So we're 3 games ahead of 500, 5 games back from Atlanta, 2.5 games back. So yeah, look, it's squeaky bum time, isn't it, as we call it? If we can keep getting these results, we're in with a real shout. And Tyler Naquin, he's out for 5 days. So that doesn't help when that happens. But Almonte should be back soon. And we've just defeated Atlanta, so that's a big one. So we're only 3 games back. Now we got them, of course, the next 2 days, and I think we play them again in October. So this could be a huge series for us. If we could take 2 out of 3, I'll be really happy. So Profar is back, but he's ready to come back into the team. So that's a huge, that's massive for us. That is absolutely huge. Hopefully he can come back in and start hitting some runs, as we just lost the 2nd game against Atlanta. If we can take the next game, we're in with a real shot. More Gulf Coast players retiring. Who cares? Worry about that in the off season. Oh, now what? Players retiring. Yeah, great. And we lost in 10 innings to Atlanta. That's unfortunate, as we're really fighting with Philadelphia here. The player development update. Dan Slania, he's been a good signing for us, actually. He started off the season very, very poorly, but he's come on leaps and bounds. His ERA is down under 4 finally. ERA plus has just ticked over the 100, so he's been a good signing for us. I'm really pleased we kept him around. Matt Ramsey's declined. Joe Ortiz has declined as well. That's concerning. Madison Bumgarner, he's gone down. CJ Cron, there you go. His contact has dropped. So it might be time to get rid of him. Catalan Marte is another one who he has improved ever so slightly. I think the OSA ratings seem to have had him perhaps slightly better than he really is. But as you look, I mean, in 2016 for Seattle, he did go 278, ops of 718. And he seems to be doing that sort of numbers now, doesn't he? I mean, last year he was playing regularly. He wasn't really that close to those figures. So this year he seems to be back to that 216. He had a 216 WAR of 0.8. He's on 0.8 this year. So perhaps the playing every day for us last year, perhaps he wasn't ready for it. He was a bit young. He was only 23, remember, at the time. So perhaps he was a bit too young to be playing every single day for us. Isaiah Soto, he came up to AAA very, very briefly this year, but he's declined across the board. He's only 21. I expected a little bit more from him. I don't know whether he's really trade bait now. Right fielder, we've got Mazzara for the long term. Look, in AAA, there you go. He only went 227. Ops plus was 72. He went back down to AAA and he's doing a lot better. So that's his level at the moment. He is only young, but that's a concern. Anyone else that really stands out? Mauricio Atazol, haven't even heard of him. He's got potential movement rating. His current control has improved, and his potential in that area has gone up as well. But look, there's nothing there that really interests me. OSA ratings have got him quite high. I mean, if he reaches all that potential, he's going to be a fantastic relief pitcher. But there's a lot of yellow bars there, isn't there? So he's got a lot of work to do. But in saying that, he is in his first season in single A. I mean, he's only played 8 games, so he's obviously just come up. But he's holding his own at the moment. So next season it'll be interesting to see how he performs. And the other name that I did see that I wanted to mention, Jack McPherson. He's playing in single A. His defensive rating has improved. But he's got a lot of work still to improve across the board, really. His gap power's complete. There's not much more to it, but things like home run power, his eye, voiding Ks, they all need to bump up ever so slightly. Our head scout thinks he's fantastic. Look, our head scout gave him a 5-star, or 4.5-star, I should say, potential rating. OSA ratings have got him way, way down. So, yeah, he's a tricky one. Every sort of time I see him, my opinion changes of him. At the moment, I'm a little bit disappointed. In single A's, he's doing all right, isn't he? Nothing spectacular. He's a bit under 100 for Ops Plus, but he's hasn't been anything there that's really grabbed me. Particularly as in 2015 in the Rookie League, he put up very good numbers across the board. So he's someone that I'm going to have to keep an eye on. But they're the only good ones that stand out. We do have a 3-game series against Boston, and then we're playing Atlanta again. So this is a big one for us. It does look like we've fallen well back. We're 7 games back now, and we are out. There you go. We're officially out of the postseason. I'm not too surprised. I'm surprised it went as long as it did. It's a little disappointing. So Jose Fernandez wants to stay around. That's promising, but unfortunately we've got no money, so I don't think we're going to be able to hold on to him. I'll just have a quick look, knowing full well that we've got no money. We've got a little bit for extensions, don't we? He wants, like I say, again, 9-year contract. There's no way I'm going to give him a 9-year contract. It's just not going to happen. So, unfortunately, it does look like we're going to lose Jose Fernandez unless something fantastic happens in the next few days. So we'll run out the season as we're falling behind. We're going to just fall short of 500 ball by the looks of it. As I better quit out of that. I will go through the rest of the playoffs. Actually, we'll sim through the playoffs, actually. And then you guys can have a good look. So Atlanta made it. The Phillies missed out. Atlanta got defeated by the Braves. Yeah, Brandon Finnegan come back. Yeah, fantastic. Till the playoffs end. Come on, boys. Yeah, so a little disappointing end to the season because we were in with a very slim chance. I mean, I didn't expect to make it, but the month started off very well, so we were in with a real shout. We were only sort of, 2.5 games back from Atlanta at one point. So, as we'll have a quick look then, and then that'll wrap up the season of 2018. So we finished 80 and 82. We were tied with Washington in the end, so that shows how tough this division was because the Phillies were only a game back, and Washington were totally out of it for long periods. But obviously our better record kept them ahead there. I mean, even the Mets weren't doing too badly. They were 74 and 88, which isn't dreadful, is it? We finished 5 games out of the wildcard spot. That's frustrating. 80-82, I would have liked to have got a winning record because I think we had the team to do it. And next season's gone up because we're losing players like Jose Fernandez. So if we go to have a look at our team, then we won't look at the month. We'll look at the overall stats for the year. So Madison Bumgarner seems to be on a bit of a decline now, but Adam Conley's still putting up great numbers. So did Jose Fernandez as well. Brandon Finnegan was actually a very good signing for us. Not quite as good as the last two. Not totally unexpected. Excuse me. But he put up decent, solid numbers. Ivan Nova, we could certainly get a better 5th man in the rotation, couldn't we? He's struggling a little bit. So he's going. I mean, he's a free agent at the end of the year. I will not be renewing him. I think we could certainly find someone better in that 5th rotation spot. Otherwise, in terms of the relief core, we've got a bit of a mixed bag, don't we? I mean, Baez, Aaron Blair didn't have the best of seasons in the end, but his ERA did just squeeze below 500, which you remember at the beginning of the season, after the first couple of months, he was really struggling. He probably did deserve time down in AAA to sort of, that was more his level. Perhaps the Major Leagues was a bit of a step up for him, but you know what? I'm pleased with what he's done. Grant Dayton, he came up, did nothing. Yimi Garcia, fantastic numbers, didn't he? He's done very, very well for us. 149 for the year. You can't really complain about that, can you? Andy Oliver, 409, nothing fantastic. Joel Tease, his ERA's blown right out. He only made 7 appearances for us. He certainly won't be coming back. Matt Ramsey, 372. Very similar to Jimmy Sherfy in that regard. Dan Slania has been a very good signing for us. He just dipped below the ERA of 4 for the year, which is very impressive. Remember, we picked him up in Rule 5 from San Francisco. I'm glad we kept him around. The start of the season, perhaps he was costing us a few games, which, in another universe, perhaps that was the difference between us playing above 500 ball or not. But to finish the season the way he did, I'm very impressed. Nick Whitgren, he came up, he only made one appearance, did 2/3 of an inning, didn't give up anything. Addison Reed, he wasn't too bad. I wasn't disappointed with him. 2.49 ERA plus there of 1.55. So his Ks to walks was quite good too, as 3. So you can't really complain too much about that one. In terms of our lineups, then to finish out the season, so Raul Muto, 273, ops plus of just over 100. I'm quite happy with him. 12 home runs, not nearly as good as how he performed with Baltimore back in 2016. But as you can see, he's actually been declining since that season, 2016. But he's certainly better than what we had before because Schwarber, needed to be an everyday player. Justin Bauer only made a handful of starts, didn't he? Nothing too impressive there. CJ Cron, he had a really bad year for us, and I'm so disappointed in him. I really thought he could have done a lot better. Got arbitration at the end of the year. Whether we keep him or not, I don't know. I think 2019 needs to be a total rebuild for the team. Joe Panic, 261. He seems to be in a slight decline as well, but he does have an ops plus of over 100. Look, everyone has bad seasons, particularly Miami. In 2018, we didn't have the best of seasons. So I'll give him a pass anyway, because he does have a very high WAR there of 3.6. Avery Romero actually came up, obviously in the roster expansion. He did very well. He's held his own, so he might be worth looking at keeping, because we're going to lose a few players here and there. Ruben Tejada, 287, ops plus of 113, which is quite high really for our team. So I'm pleased with him. Martin Prado, he's come in 259. He's slumped ever so slightly, didn't he, this year? But we did lose Pong-Soo Kim, remember, in the trade to Texas, bringing in Profar. So I didn't expect Martin Prado to be a superstar, because he was our backup third baseman, really. Marco Hernandez, this guy's been a major disappointment. Batted 235, ops plus of only 72, which was the lowest of all the players that were in the team before the roster expansion. I think it's time to let him go. I could probably do that now, to be honest. There's nothing really grabbed me. I don't know why I kept him. Perhaps that was my error, but I really sort of wanted to see what he could do. I thought he had that potential to do something, and he didn't deliver, so that's unfortunate. Ketel Marte, he was in a real decline, wasn't he? He has improved ever so slightly from his 2017 stats, but as I said before, very, very similar to his 2016 stats with Seattle. So perhaps playing every day isn't the best option for him. What about Profar? Profar came in. This guy, unbelievable. I'm so glad we picked him up. I'm surprised Texas wanted Pong-Soo Kim. I will actually have a look at Pong-Soo Kim's stats, because I'd be interested to see how he's performing. But he did very well for us. I'm thrilled to have him on board. He's got arbitration at the end of the year. Definitely going to keep this guy around, because he's worth it, I think. He only played 53 starts, 57 appearances. But you look at those numbers. He came in to us and did 316 for the year for us. So that's really promising. Ops plus 161. You can't really beat that, can you? Austin Dean, he didn't do too badly either. He came up, remember, in the roster expansion, so I won't talk too much about him. Kyle Schwarber, he didn't have a great year, did he? 246, ops plus of 108. It seems like everyone had a bad year this year, which is really frustrating, as his ratings have declined, I think, haven't they? Have his ratings declined? I'm not sure about that. But, yeah, not too thrilled there, as he's had his worst year for us, hasn't he? Look, he's had his worst year since joining us. Went 280, but he's actually only hovering around that 250, except for that first year, where he obviously did fantastically well. He has declined ever so slightly. His WAR has been dropping quite considerably. So maybe one more year on arbitration. His salary's still quite low, so it was definitely worth keeping around at left base. but left field, I should say, not left base. I've never heard of left base position before in my life. But Casey Saltis hasn't been too bad, so he might be worth replacing Schwarber with. Perhaps we could trade Schwarber away. I don't know. I mean, Casey Saltis hasn't been putting up too bad numbers. He did do very well this year. Only made 64 starts, 126 appearances. Ops plus of 113. I'm quite impressed with that. Last year, he sort of came up, and I think he demoted him a couple of times, brought him back up, that sort of thing. But because he was only batting 219, and I thought, no, you're clearly not good enough. But this year, he's put up very good numbers, so he might be worth keeping around anyway. We've got him next year, like it or not, so he'll be interesting to see how he goes. Abraham Almonte, he did very well. He sort of shared the centre field role with Naquin as well. So both of them were playing quite regularly, really. And they both put up very solid numbers. Naquin, average, wasn't he? He had 100 ops plus, but 269. Almonte, I think, slightly the better player. Not by much, though. I mean, he did put up better numbers. But I also like the fact that he can steal bases, because we don't have anyone that can steal bases, as you can see. So between the two of them, I'm quite impressed. Almonte comes up to arbitration. He's only on 500,000 at the moment, so we could probably snag him for some cheap price. Naquin, he's got arbitration as well, so I'm looking at certainly keeping both of them around, because I'd like to see, like Almonte, he can play left field or right field as well. So worst comes to worst, we've got definitely keeping Almonte because he can play anywhere in the outfield, where Naquin is limited to centre field, really. He can't really play left field at all. Because the left field certainly stacked with Schwarber and Saltis. I think Saltis can play centre field. Yeah, he can. Not particularly well, but he can play that. So Almonte's definitely staying. Naquin, I might perhaps trade him away. Early days yet, I haven't decided, because this team's going to need a total rebuild, in my opinion. Nomar Mazara, 256 for the year. Not great, was it? 122 ops plus. 3.3 WAR. He's certainly declined too. Look at those numbers in 2017 for us. He did very well. He is very young, so I'm not going to lambast him for a poor season, because he's so young. Everyone has bad years now and then, and it seemed like it was just unfortunate that our entire team decided to have a bad year. So even still, a WAR of 3.3 isn't too bad. So he's certainly staying. He's got arbitration at the end of the year as well. So that we'll actually talk quickly about our salaries, because we've got a lot of players coming into arbitration. Jose Fernandez, we're going to lose him, I think. Perhaps I should have traded him away. I sort of kept him around, thinking we could possibly squeeze into the wildcard spot. I don't regret my decision, but perhaps we could have traded him away and got some decent talent in return. But we're going to lose him now to free agency. That's a little bit of a blow, but we'll worry about that later. Ivan Nova, he's definitely going. But otherwise, we've got a lot of arbitration. We've got Profile, we've got Raul Muto, we've got Schwarber, we've got Joe Panic, we've got CJ Cron, Yimi Garcia, Tanner Sheppers, he's nothing spectacular. Almonte down here as well. So as you can see, we're losing Jose Fernandez, Ivan Nova, and Martin Prado, and our budget is actually higher than it is this year. Players like Madison Bumgarner, he's got a team option at 12 million. Tazawa, he's certainly going. He's not even worth 4.2, little over 5.8. So he's going as well. So that does bump it down a little bit. Madison Bumgarner on the 12 million team option? I don't know. This year, he played very, very poorly. Admittedly, he was injured for a long period of time there, but he hasn't really impressed me too much. Is he worth keeping around for 12 million? I don't know. We'll have to have a good look, I think, of at the free agents coming up to see whether he's worth keeping around. So in terms of, some of you probably already saw it, you're more interested than me, the Red Sox came back and won the World Series again. They knocked out the Chicago Cubs in 6 games. Quite a decent team, really, isn't there? They've been impressive all season by the looks of it. They went 86-76, not as good as the Cubbies, though, who ran away with it a little bit. Well, actually, they only made the wildcard spot. Pittsburgh actually won the... I saw 91-71 with the Cubs, and I just assumed that they won the division. They didn't even do that. They only made the wildcard. So that's incredible. That is 6 games ahead of the Dodgers. We only finished 5 games away from the Dodgers in the wildcard spot. That's a little bit frustrating, but we're certainly not as good as the Dodgers, so you can't really complain. Fernandez actually won the pitcher's WAR in the National League, 8.2, well clear of Clayton Kershaw, and he actually did more strikeouts than Kershaw as well. His ERA wasn't as good, but still very, very low. Mazzara squeezed into the home runs. So that's a little bit disappointing. Texas actually won the division. As we'll have a quick look at see how Pong-Soo Kim did and Giancarlo Stanton. So Stanton clobbered in 47 home runs for the year, 120 RBIs, 272. Remember, trading him away, I didn't want to trade him away, but his salary was huge. We couldn't afford to keep him. And remember last year he was injured for the vast majority of the season. So it looks like he's back to his best. I mean, when he was with us, look, he couldn't get more than 40 home runs, could he? And then he comes to Texas and does 47. In 2015, he did 98 RBIs, which he did get more in 2014. But he did 120 this year, so I don't know why now he's gone to Texas he's doing so much better. So that's a bit frustrating. What about Pong-Soo Kim then? Where is he? He didn't do too badly for them, did he? Well, he actually did worse. So he certainly got less on base, less batting average, but his slugging was slightly higher. So because he more or less played the same amount of games, give or take a few, obviously, but his WAR was right down. So that seems like a good deal for us because we got Profar, who improved our team leaps and bounds. So I'm quite pleased that we lost Pong-Soo Kim to that trade. So that brings a close to another disappointing season, really. We should have done a little bit better than we did. 2 games out from the 500 ball. Of course, I'll be back with the episode in a couple of days' time to talk about the off-season. I do apologise for those of you who absolutely love this series. I'm still going to carry it on. It's certainly not going away, but I'm actually going to start doing every second day now, as you may have already guessed that, just because my hectic social life at the moment, which is non-existent really. It's actually all to do with work. I do shift work, so I'm all over the place with my times. So I'm finding it a little bit difficult to do an episode a day for that reason. So that's why it's dropped to an episode every 2 days. So let me know in the comments if you're fine with that, or if you really do think that an episode a day is what's required. Otherwise, I'll see you again in a couple of days' time with episode 32, the off-season. That's assuming I've still got a job. See you guys.